Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another exciting meeting at Sattvic Toastmasters. Good news is that the club Sattvic Toastmasters is finally chartered. Can we have a big round of applause for each one of us for making the dream come into reality? And a special thanks to all the doctors who have supported us, especially Dr. Jay and our Dr. Mary Thomas, under whose guidance this club was chartered, and I'm sure it will run into miles in the future. Toastmaster is a platform that has helped numerous people across the world. Today, it's almost in 147 countries and is helping and will help for sure. It's almost a century that this organization has started, and I'm sure many years to go. As a ground rule, we respect people. So just keep yourself muted when people are talking so that you're not disturbing the speaker. Second, whatever you're speaking, ensure that you are not speaking in a derogatory way for the audience to get offended. Other than that, then nothing else. Because you're here to learn, don't shy away when you're given an opportunity to speak in any section. With that note, let me welcome our presiding officer for today, Distinguished Toastmaster Pramod. Pramod, all yours.
Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster for that good introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. And this is the first time that we are having a full-fledged meeting in the right format after the chartering of the club. First of all, I should thank all the people who have taken initiative behind chartering this club, especially to Raghu. In a way, I would say that it was the dream child of Distinguished Toastmaster Raghu to have a club which provides the right direction to people to have healthy life. So we all have different type of clubs all over the world. We have seen during the COVID times, I believe he visited more than 900 clubs in 160 countries. I'm sure that the experience must have been exhilarating, and he wanted to start something different and which will give the real benefits to the members. For the past 6-7 sessions, we have seen that various doctors, they have come in and they discussed about various topics related to health, related to mind, related to our physical wellness, many things. So the idea is to provide value to your daily life. Such a club definitely will help everybody to look forward to have a healthy life in their longer period. So the initiative of starting this club requires a round of applause from all of you. Second, we are also celebrating that we are in existence. So the moment he sent me the link with the club number and everything, it was an exhilarating moment for me. It was an experience like I had a new baby after so many years of marriage. So I have chartered many clubs, but this is something different. Even though I was not an advocate of online clubs, but because I believe that online clubs will not give the same kind of benefits, which if you attend as an offline member. But I was wrong. I attended some quality meetings. The purpose is to provide quality. The key is to provide quality to the members who attend the meeting. I've attended several clubs and I found that even online clubs can provide you the real inputs for improvement. The only thing is that all the members should be sincere, all the members should be regular, and the role play should take the role seriously, and also everybody should come prepared to have an experience, which is the next level. With this word, I once again welcome all the members, and I assure you that the members will be having a quality journey with Sattvic Toastmasters Club. With these words, let me welcome the Toastmaster of today. Toastmaster of today is Toastmaster Arav. Arav, are you there?
Looks like we lost him, but you can invite the keynote speaker while he comes back.
Okay. Raghu, you have the keynote speaker introduction, then you can introduce him.
Give me a minute.
Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Raghu.
Okay, now Dr. Gaurang Ramesh, he's an MBBS, MS General Surgery, and he has done FSG Surgical Gastroenterology. He's the director of Anugrah Arca Integrated Medicine Private Limited and co-founder of Arca Healthcare Private Limited. He has done his Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery from JSS Medical College, Mysore, and his Master of Surgery from KS Hegde Medical Academy, Mangalore. He is a certified human potential coach and certified RICO 2.0 practitioner. Well, let me call upon Dr. Gaurang Ramesh to enlighten us on the title Functional Medicine, Redefining Chronic Disease Prevention and Management. Dear Doctor, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raghu, for the wonderful introduction. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity and inviting me to present before such a wonderful and a like-minded audience who believe in holistic health and putting health before just treating illness. I'd like to share my screen now. So today I'd like to share with you all about functional medicine and how it can redefine chronic disease prevention and management. We all know that chronic diseases are the biggest burden to our society today. And we have been almost of the world follows the guidelines set by US in terms of the regular allopathic guidelines. So I'm quoting US data here. And there about 6 in 10 people have some sort of chronic diseases, and about 4 in 10 adults have more than 2 chronic diseases. And even though there is $3.5 trillion in the healthcare costs of US, the disease burden and the incidence of disease is not increasing anytime soon. So where have we gone wrong, and what exactly has happened? Today's guidelines of modern medicine is built on evidence-based medicine. But the original evidence-based medicine was based on both individual clinical expertise of the doctor and the best available external evidence. And either alone was not enough to practice. So when evidence-based medicine was, believed to, when doctors came up with the idea of evidence-based medicine, it was always a mixture of research evidence, patient preference, and clinical expertise. But as we went on, today we know that what we call a good quality evidence relies only on research evidence. What we call good quality evidence is meta-analysis and randomized controlled trial. So they rely only on the statistical significance of the data, and we do not consider patient preference and clinical expertise as good evidence. So today what is happening is, even though something in front of our eyes is making sense, we cannot accept it because we don't have a paper which says that it's possible. So it's like saying when it's like saying when you are falling off a parachute from falling off aeroplane, you don't use a parachute because there's not enough randomized controlled trials looking at the benefit of parachute. So if we go on like this, we have stopped using research evidence also, because there has been a study by the New England Journal of Medicine, which has taken into account 10 years of all the publications by New England Journal of Medicine. And at the end, they have seen that there is 40% of what was published in 2000 has completely changed. The guidelines have changed by 2010. So today we are not actually looking at research evidence also. So I'm not saying modern medicine is bad. Modern medicine is definitely a wondrous thing. It is excellent for acute care. If you have a heart attack, angioplasty is wonderful today. If you have an accident, orthopedic surgeries are great. But what we have done is we have applied the concept of acute care medicine into chronic diseases. We think big problems need big interventions, and it's normal to expect big side effects. So when we do this, what has happened is chronic disease care has become fragmented. We are unnecessarily relying on more tests, and we are also having more cost now. So what is what we are doing with chronic diseases? We're trying to name a disease based on the symptoms. If we don't understand the etiology, we call it a syndrome. And then we blame that disease to one single aspect. When modern medicine came into the being, the majority of the load of diseases was with infections. So in infection, you can say there is a single entity, a single microbe causing a problem. So you can blame it on an entity, and then you can tame the infection with antibiotics. But chronic diseases is not like that. If we are trying to apply the same philosophy of infectious disease, of blaming the disease on one aspect, and then taming with multiple drugs. So what we're actually doing is when the drain is blocked and the tap is flowing, we are continuously mopping the floor to clean the overflowing water. But we are not thinking about how do we switch off the tap. So that is why we need to really rethink the way we look at chronic diseases today. So what exactly is functional medicine? It's basically a systems biology-based approach of looking and identifying the root cause of the physiological dysfunction of why exactly the disease or the dysfunction in the body is happening. So systems biology believes that the whole body is greater than sum of its each parts. So today we have a false dichotomy happening. So one side we have our healthcare following the reductionism. So I specialized, I did general surgery, and then I did surgical gastroenterology. And now again, I need to either specialize in liver. If I specialize in liver or liver transplant, again, I need to look at hepatology and look at the molecular level of the liver. So except the liver, I don't know anything else in the body. If something is happening, I don't know how to interconnect the heart and the liver, or the digestive system and the liver. On the other side, we have holism, where we know very superficially, but we think we know the entire thing. So we need to follow a midway approach where we follow the cutting edge technology of reductionism and understand the deep pathophysiology and biochemistry, but also follow the principles of holistic approaches and traditional approaches. And we base our research, biological research, based on understanding holism as well. We have to do this because we know chronic diseases always have multiple causes. Depression is not a deficiency of antidepressant tablets. It can be because of low omega-3 fatty acids. It can be because of hypothyroidism, vitamin D deficiency, insulin resistance. Autoimmune diseases could be contributing. Antibiotic overuse and microbial disruption can be causing, and also social isolation like COVID. But we also know that the center of chronic diseases is chronic inflammation. In all the chronic diseases, we always see there is inflammatory pathways which are playing a role. So what we're trying to do is there is inflammation in the body, and that is causing different, based on the pathological pathways, the different symptoms are happening and different diseases we are naming it. And we're trying to address all the problems with a pill of suppressing the symptoms. But what exactly is causing the inflammation? It could be stress, the toxins in the environment, bacteria and viruses, the trauma which the person has experienced, and the inherited genetics, and all the food and the sugar we are exposed to. So those things have to be, addressed. At the pathway of the disease have to be addressed upstream rather than just suppressing the symptoms downstream. So to do this, it's definitely complicated. So in medical school, we think Krebs cycle has only the 10 steps, but actually the Krebs cycle looks like this. And if you look at, if you talk to a biochemistry PhD, he says even this is a very simplified version. It's even more complicated than this. But I would like to bring to your notice some of the modern medicine tools which we have found in the last 10 years, which will definitely make it much easier for us to understand this complexity. The first thing is the human microbiome. So we have realized all the traditional, medical fields, if you look at Ayurveda or Chinese medicine, always say that the gut is the center of disease. All disease originate in the gut. But in science, we never understood why they say that. And today we are in a position to understand, but because we've just discovered the human microbiome. We always thought the human microbiome is just may help a little bit in digestion, but we never understood why do we have so many bacterial organisms in our gut. That is because we have always looked at culture and looking at microscopy. A stool sample may have 3,000 species of organisms, and you can never understand that by just doing a culture. Today, we are able to look at the DNA, RNA of a stool sample. So that's how we have discovered all the organisms which are in the gut. And each person can have up to 100 trillion microbes in the microbiome. And we have more RNA and DNA cells in our body of our microbiota than our human cells. And we have more microbiome or the bacterial or the organic organism cells than we have our own human cells. So this microbiome is contributing to all aspects of our body. It can be the metabolic functions, immune functions, because 70% of the immune system is in our gut. It can be hormonal function, because of the cell signaling pathways the microbiome interacts, and it can be our gut health also. So we know so many of our autoimmune diseases can be because the gut is inflamed, and because the gut is inflamed, what we are not supposed to absorb, what we are not supposed to allow into the bloodstream is being allowed, and that is producing an immune reaction. And that is leading to systemic inflammation and autoimmune diseases. We also know that diabetes also, or the metabolic syndrome, can also be because of intestinal permeability. The second aspect we need to look at is the toxins. So in how we study toxicology, we, if you look at animal studies or the human studies, we put toxins into rats, a single toxin, and then we study how the disease manifests. But what's happening here, from the time you get up, from the water you brush your teeth with, to the food you're eating, and to the air you're breathing when you go to your office, you're continuously exposed to toxins. So we need to understand the total body burden. It's not just arsenic, it's not just lead, it's not only aluminum. It can be the alcohol, it can be the stress of your work pressure, it can be the food which is not allowing your detoxification pathways to work. And all this combined with the toxin exposure you have is the total body burden. So if you look at your body as a bucket, you're overflowing the symptoms because there are so many different pebbles, and each pebble can be a different toxin. So the third aspect is the genetics. So we just thought, DNA transcribes to RNA, which translates to protein, and which then results to function. But now we understand that DNA cannot translate completely to function unless it is influenced by the environment. So environment has the greatest influence on the gene expression more than the actual gene itself. So a lot of things are involved when you look at the DNA, translating up to the function. So we need to look at all these aspects. The best example is the Paima Indians, where this photo is probably a 100 years old photo, where you can look, all of them have six-pack abs with wonderful physique. And today, the same, these people were not exposed to the civilized world for a long time. And now in the last 60, 70 years, they have been properly got back into the civilization. All the McDonald's have been released there, and they've got back to the our modern culture. And suddenly you see the highest incidence of obesity is in that population. They have the highest incidence of obesity in the world now. And we know that this cannot happen in 100 years of genetics. It is only because of the epigenetic influence that this can happen. And the fourth aspect is the pharmacogenomics. Now we understand that all of these different factors, the epigenetics, the genetics, and the microbiome, is influencing the body. So only about 30 to 40% of the population, a drug will work well. If you create a drug, it doesn't mean that on every person it has the same effect. So based on that, we need to become more and more personalized in terms of our treatment protocols. And next, we also are having a different perspective with food. And how does food influence the human biology? We have only understood food with calories, but there are so many phytonutrients in the plants, which just because it doesn't translate to calories, we thought they're all useless. But that phytonutrients in plants or few micronutrients in animals are working, or it's communicating with the body through the information. And how do you look at food through the lens of microbiome? We only think about feeding ourselves. And I just told you that we have more microbial genetics or more microbial cells than our human cells. So when the microbiome feeds on fiber, it feeds on complex carbohydrates, and we never thought about how we can feed the microbiome so that our microbial diversity is better. So today we have to transform from epigenetic studies to personalized studies. We need to, the 21st century medicine is looking at how genes are translated into our disease, how our internal, external metabolic factors in the environment can influence our gene expression, and how our environment shapes our function, and how our nutrients and phytochemicals speak to our genes and speak to each other, and how our social networks also influence our disease. And so if you look at this kind of a framework, what exactly is disease? So even in 18th century, they've always said the disease is just a disordered function. If you look at our traditional systems, Ayurveda or the Chinese medicine or the homeopathy, always believe that it's a disordered function, and we just have to help the body get back to its normal function. So you might be wondering, what all you're just talking mumbo jumbo, and how do we actually translate this to clinical therapy, or how do we treat patients now? So that we can do only by asking two simple questions. So the first is about the cause. Does this person need to be rid of something? It could be toxins, allergies, infections, or poor diet, stress. And does this person have some unmet individual needs which is required for optimal function? It can be the optimization of the epigenetics or some small single nucleotide polymorphic changes in the genetics. So what do you need to get rid of? The toxins, allergens, microbes, stress, both physical and psychological, and the sad diet, which is the whole world is accepting, but that's the most horrible diet in the world now. And what are the ingredients for optimal function? So what do you need to give your body to thrive on? How do you optimize your food? How do you optimize your deficiencies? And the exposure to light, water, and air, including more movement in your routine, optimizing your sleep and your circadian rhythm. And when all of you might know that when they conducted studies on the people, populations who have lived for more than 100 years, the single most important common factor they found is not food or is not exercise. It is actually all of them believed in building a community, and all of them believed in having a meaning and purpose in their life. So the problem with our current diagnostic medicine is once we reach a diagnosis, you say diabetes, there ends our inquiry. We start giving drugs. But what we need to do in chronic disease is once we come to a diagnosis, that should be the starting point of inquiry. If the diagnosis is diabetes, we should start thinking, how did that patient develop diabetes? So when I was in surgical gastroenterology unit in institutions, we would get people with inflammatory bowel disease, and they would come with history of some GI problems for a long time, and they would have already seen their primary care physicians. They would come to us, we would start them on steroids, then try different biologicals, and many people would again, after 2-3 years of biologicals, come back with symptoms. And then they would come to us, we would remove the entire colon and get the bowel out through the abdomen, and they have to stay with the bag for their entire life. And sometimes when we're not able to reverse, do a normal surgery. But these patients would again keep coming back with same kind of problems. So I always thought, if we think we are doing the optimal care for the patients, are we really doing what is the patient needs? So once I learned functional medicine, today, how do I practice? So when I get an IBD patient, I assess them from the birth or from their family history. And all the time I see that these patients will have some indications where the immune system has been disturbed. So for example, this patient is a 33-year-old female who came with inflammatory bowel disease. From the age of 5, she's had multiple problems for which she's treated with a lot of antibiotics. And she has family history of anxiety and bowel issues. And the trigger happened when the stress in her work, really increased at a peak where she was almost losing the job. And that's when she had blood in stools and she was diagnosed and has ulcerative colitis. So in such a patient, the fundamental problem or the trigger is actually stress. So if I only concentrate on, suppressing the symptoms, I'm not addressing the root cause. So in such people, I start with an elemental diet where it make it very, very simple for the bowel to digest food, then provide the food or the bowel with enough nutrients to start healing. Of course, allopathy medicines will be used to control the disease initially, but along with that, we need to remove what is causing problem. Like the stress, we address it with pranayama, guided meditation. If required, we also do cognitive behavioral therapy, and then provide what is required. Provide with glutamine, probiotics, DGL licorice, and vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids, so that the gut can recover properly. So if you look at the timeline of these patients, it's always we can track why the disease is actually happening. So if you look at the end of this patient, they may still have 1 or 2 tablets which they may have to take lifelong, but it's definitely much better than the patients I was seeing in a surgical gastro unit, where this patient doesn't have any colectomies, it's not on any biologicals, no colostomy to take care of, and they're okay with having 1 or 2 medicines. So fundamentally, we need to look at the root of the diseases. We have to address the modifiable lifestyle factors, and then look at how the systems are interconnected, how all the systems talk to each other, communicate with each other, and how everything is interlinked with deeper biochemistry. So let's change the way we do medicine and the medicine we do. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I would like to end my session and hand over the stage back to Toastmaster.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Gaurang Ramesh. Now we'll open up the forum for questions. Anybody has any questions? Before audience ask any question, I have a question. Dr. Gaurang Ramesh. Mainly, most of us are vegans. We follow a Sattvic lifestyle. And then one question that comes to everybody's mind once you become a vegan is, how do you maintain your gut health, especially when we don't have any buttermilk or any milk products? How do we add to that? Do you suggest any probiotics?
Yeah, so fundamentally, so fundamentally, if you look at any traditional cultures, all the cultures have fermented food, and most of it is not by animal products. It's all plant-based fermented food. If you see kimchi or kefir, and if you look at Indian food also, like we develop so many batters like idli batter, and we have dokla in North India. We also in Andhra there's a term called cheddanam, where it's a spoiled rice. So you whatever rice is left over in the night, you keep it in with water throughout the night, and morning you have a fermented dish, which is very tasty and also healthy. So we need to learn these recipes. So what has happened is we have simplified cooking, and we have simplified the way we eat food because of our lifestyle. So all the traditions have fermented foods and probiotics as a part of the traditional recipes. So we need to learn that back and introduce that into our life. And the fundamental thing required for the diversity of our microbiome is fiber and the phytonutrients. So actually the plant-based food is what creates diversity of the microbiota. And you don't have to actually give live bacteria all the time. It's enough if you just feed the bacteria with different phytonutrients, different types of vegetables. So definitely the only problem with vegan is if we don't do it properly, we might have a little bit of B12 deficiency when we don't have the diversity of the bacteria. But that also we can, we can handle that if we make sure we have good variety of foods and we develop the diversity of the microbiome.
Thank you very much. One last question before I give to others. Are there any vegan sources for vitamin D or no, other than sunlight?
Vitamin D is a little complicated topic because there are multiple places where vitamin D is made active also. So the liver health is important, the kidney health is important, the skin is important, the sun exposure is important, and the microbiota diversity is important. So if vitamin D more than the food, it's the diversity of the microbiome which will play a role, and our lifestyle. So I'm not sure if there's enough evidence to say that certain foods will 100% increase the vitamin D, but it's just the overall picture which is important than simplifying it single food.
Thank you, Doctor. We have a couple of questions, and then I'll go with that. Samanthi, I'll come to you. Let's starting with Vrinda. Vrinda has a question. Vrinda?
Thank you, Doctor. That was a great presentation. My question is about children who these days, a lot of children have been diagnosed with autism. So, does functional medicine have any hopes for autism?
Yeah, so like I said, in autism, for some of the things which I mentioned in the talk, autism, we have been seeing there are multiple dysfunctions happening in autism. Starting from the gut, we see there's a lot of bacterial diversity is less. We see a lot of parasite infections. The incidence of parasite infections are more in autistic kids. We see that the exposure to we can see a rapid increase in autism post-COVID. One of the main reason is the exposure to blue light and the screens also. So just by removing screens from children's life, we have seen significant improvement in autistic symptoms also. Third aspect is reducing the burden of the electromagnetic waves also. So either by earthing and walking barefoot, taking them to play areas. So that also we have seen it really impacts. And some of the traditional conventional approaches to training the brain by being strict actually can become counterintuitive in autism. You cannot be very strict and make rules for autistic kids. So autistic kids put into therapies and the therapist is very strict. That also may be counterintuitive and may be doing harm to the kids. And finally, other aspect is the toxins. So many times we see heavy metal being raised in the blood and in the hair in autistic kids. So providing the nutrients for the liver to naturally detox all of those toxins has also helped a lot. So I've been seeing a small number of autistic kids. There are about 15-20 kids who come regularly. So there are other therapies like the red light therapy and the sauna, which naturally helps them in detoxifying. These also have helped a lot in autistic kids. So autism is not a clear-cut grading is not there in autism. So some patients benefit a lot. They almost come back to normal life. But in most of the patients we see, there is the symptom burden is reduced when we look at it from a functional medicine perspective.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Shahid has a question. Shahid, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Ramesh, and it's a good informative session today we had. And my question is related to the diabetic thing. So nowadays we can see like everywhere out of 10, 6 or 7 people are getting affected with the diabetic, and its post effects will be very like say it will give many impacts on our other health related things. So my question is like, let's say my parents have the hereditary problem of diabetic. So even I follow the food habits and I do exercises and all those things. So am I able to come out of it?
Yes, 100%. You can definitely put diabetes in remission. And we talk so much about family history in diabetes, but if we see it's fundamentally a lifestyle disorder. So our families are also, when we grow up, we eat the same food as our parents, we eat the same, follow the same lifestyle as our grandparents. And if they have actually transformed from being farmers to tier 1 city dwellers, where their lifestyle is completely changed, radically changed, we also are following the same kind of food, a lot of grains, a lot of carbohydrates, very little nutrition. So it's actually makes more sense to say that it is because of the community practices we develop diabetes than our actual genetics. So 100% we can put the diabetes into remission with food and lifestyle. And in some areas, about 20% people might not be able to do it only with diet and lifestyle. For them, we need to again look deeper. For some patients, I've realized they come with only GID, reflux disease, and they're on antacids for a long time. And antacids, when it was released, it was supposed to be used only for 2 to 3 weeks. But now today we just give for 2 months, 3 months, 2 years antacids, and that really reduces the hydrochloric acid and it reduces the digestive enzymes. It causes dysbiosis, and the dysbiosis causes toxins to get into the bloodstream, and that causes insulin resistance. So just reversing their GID, they were able to reverse diabetes. Some people, when we do the heavy metal test in the blood, some heavy metals will be positive. That can also contribute to insulin resistance, and helping them get rid of those toxins, detoxing their body, again reverses diabetes. So it's not a single entity. 80%, 85% of the people can reverse it with diet and lifestyle. But in some people who are not able to, we need to go a little deeper and understand.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. We have Samanthi. Believe she left. Okay, Meeral has a question. Okay, Samanthi is here. Sorry, Samanthi, you can go ahead, and then later Meeral.
Can I talk?
Yeah,
I'll do it quickly.
You have a question, Samanthi?
Yes, I wanted to share something with the doctor. It's a very good presentation. I'm glad that I was able to listen to it. I had some acid reflux kind of 2 months ago, and I was given some medicine, but I didn't have it. And I started having oats for 3 meals, and now I don't have that problem. I don't think that I have much time to discuss this thing with the doctor. It's okay, Raghunath, you can go ahead. This is just to share my findings of my disease.
So thank you, Samanthi. This forum was mainly for question and answer, but thank you for sharing your story. Meeral, go ahead.
Thank you to Dr. Ramesh for enlightening us with this information. I have a quick question on, I find a lot of sources for probiotics, but what's the difference between prebiotic and probiotic, and how should we consume it, or what should be the process? The prebiotic should come first, then we should supply with probiotic.
Yeah. So probiotics is the good microorganisms which help us in the gut. So prebiotics is the fiber which feed the good bacteria. It can be different forms of complex carbohydrates which feed the good bacteria. There are certain complex carbohydrates which our digestive enzymes cannot digest. So these carbohydrates are actually simplified by our bacteria. So the bacteria feeds on these complex carbohydrates, and that is what we call as prebiotics. And postbiotic is what the bacteria produces. So once the bacteria eats the fiber, it produces short chain fatty acids. So those are the postbiotics. So when we look at a healthy individual, if you don't have any symptoms, don't have any health problems, what you need to do is to maintain a good diversity of bacteria. So different bacteria feeds on different types of phytonutrients, the plant nutrients and fiber. So having a good diversity of vegetables in the food and having good quantity of vegetables in the food will make sure your bacterial diversity is good. It doesn't have to be only vegetables, all the berries or fruits and grains and all of that different types of phytonutrients feed the different bacteria. But if you have any problem, if you want to heal your gut, then we have to see if there is dysbiosis. The balance between the good and the bad bacteria is altered. So when that is altered, then probiotics may actually cause aggravation of symptoms, or prebiotic fiber may actually feed the bad bacteria. And that is why when we don't understand that, our studies, epidemiological studies will come out, are not conclusive. If in our modern gastroenterology guidelines, we don't see guidelines of probiotics anywhere, because we just use probiotics for dysbiosis gut also, and then we are not getting results. So that's why our studies also come out negative. But definitely, if you look at so in those patients, what I do, I optimize the digestive enzyme function properly. Start taking lemon juice or apple cider vinegar if the stomach acid is low, or start taking ashcot juice if the stomach acid is high, and then optimize the environment of the gut properly. And then once the bloating and the gas formation reduces, then you introduce probiotics. The gut will be able to accept the diversity of the tablets which you take. Same thing with prebiotics. You might notice that sometimes when you are bloated, some fruits or some vegetables may actually worsen the bloating and the gas, and some especially legumes and pulses. So that is because the gut bacteria is feeding on that, and the bad bacteria is producing more gas. So we need to address that issue of dysbiosis first, and then start prebiotics. So on a long run, it is always enough to focus on prebiotic, the diversity of fiber which you take. That will repopulate the gut bacteria also. But on a short run, you can take supplemental probiotics. And now you get single strain and multi-strain probiotics. So in a person with a gut issue, we can actually do single strain of certain lactobacillus or certain yeast or certain bifidobacter strains to whatever we want to achieve. Actually, constipation and diarrhea, which are two problems in the gut, can both be addressed by different species of bacteria. So we need to select those species. So I think that I complicated the question, I think. Did I answer your question?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, it cleared a lot of information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gaura.
Thank you.
Thank you for presenting your wonderful keynote speech today. We will share a virtual token of appreciation through email or WhatsApp. But now it's time to go to the other meeting proceedings. I invite Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Arav Saxena. Arav, yeah.
Thank you so much, Raghu. I hope I'm loud and clear. Okay, great. So, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, a warm welcome to today's session of newly chartered Sattvic Toastmasters. This is Arav, the Toastmaster of the day for this meeting. My main objective is to facilitate a well-structured and engaging meeting by introducing speakers, managing time, and create a positive and supportive environment. Virtually, of course. Hence, I welcome you all again to this very meeting of Sattvic Toastmasters. Now, if anyone is wondering what exactly the word Sattvic means, don't worry, I'll tell you. Sattvic is a concept representing a state of purity and balance. It refers to a diet and lifestyle, emphasizes fresh, natural, and wholesome foods, promoting mental clarity, harmony, and spiritual growth. Sattvic principles are often followed in yoga and meditation to cultivate a peaceful and balanced existence. I hope I cleared what exactly. Let me familiarize you all with today's structure of the meeting and introduce you all to the role players for today, who are very important to run the meeting smoothly and efficiently. We have a unique name for them. We call them the tag team. Timer, a warm welcome to our timer for today, DTM Raghu. I'll request DTM Raghu to tell us about his objectives as a timer for today.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. As a Toastmaster, first thing that we need to respect is people's time. Unless you respect others' time, people will not respect you or tend to disrespect you. Today, as the timer of the day, I'll ensure to show you some signals, whether it is green, yellow, or red, just like the traffic signals, to ensure that you are on time. We have a prepared speech, which is 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll be showing my background, which will be white. Until white, you are good. Green, which means that you are at 5 minutes, which is the time that you need to start slowing down and then try to wrap up. Yellow is a signal that you must wrap up at the time, and red means you are in red zone and you must stop. You have a 30-second grace period. Instead of that, 5, 6, 7 minutes is where I'm showing cards, but then 30-second grace period can come. In table topic, which is impromptu speech, it is 1 to 2 minutes. I'll be showing green at 1, 1.5, and then 2 red. 30-second grace again. For evaluation, we have 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to end up, and 3 minutes to start. Ensure to be on time, to respect people's time, whether it is audience or you. And I'm sure once you inculcate this discipline, you will have that discipline in your meetings, in everywhere that you do. I've seen that difference when I do talk in my office or anywhere else, because following the discipline, especially on time, makes a lot of difference. Let us break that stigma where people say that Indians don't follow timing by following this discipline of time. Over to you, Toastmaster, after that.
Thanks a lot, DTM Raghu. Moving on to the AHA count for today. TM Vrunda, Toastmaster Vrunda, please tell us about your objectives as AHA counter for today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arav. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutches or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. So during the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, like, you know, and filler words such as these kind of filler words. So I will note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. And thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Ara.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Vrunda. Lastly, please welcome our Word Master Grammarian for this meeting, Toastmaster Anthony. Toastmaster Anthony, please introduce us to the word of the day and the idiom of the day, and also the objectives as a grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ara. Good evening, everyone. My objective this evening will be to take note of the use of grammar that the speakers will use during the course of the meeting. Also, I will be introducing the word of the day. The word of the day is recuperate. It is a verb and it means to recover from illness or exertion. Also recover or regain something lost or taken. It is, let me give you an example of how it is used. She has been recuperating from a knee injury. So closer to the end of the meeting, I will give a report. Back to you, Toastmaster Ara.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster, for the word of the day. We encourage all the participants to use the word of the day while speaking. Whenever someone uses the word of the day, we raise a thumbs up just to motivate the speaker to use it more often. That's all. Okay. Okay. Now, let's harness the inspiration we have gained from our keynote speech and carry it forward into our prepared speech, table topics, and evaluation. Today's speaker is Toastmaster Pratik, but before giving him the stage, I would like to invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Pramod, to tell us about his speech objective.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, Toastmasters and my dear guests. Toastmaster Pradeep has selected innovative path as his path and he's going to deliver his level 3, project 3 speech. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice developing a plan and presenting in front of a proposal. It is presenting a proposal is specifically the title of the project. So Pradeep, I'm sure that he must have prepared a proposal and he would be presenting it. The time allotted for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Timer, please note, it is 5 to 7 minutes speech. The title of the speech is Breathing. I wish Toastmaster Pradeep all the very best.
Yeah, am I audible?
You're audible and visible.
Yeah, so Toastmaster Pratik, breathing, Toastmaster Pratik. Over to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Pratik Agrawal, breathing. One thing which we always do day in, day out, every hour, every moment is breathing. We all know the process of breathing. We inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. When we inhale oxygen, a lot of changes happens in our body. Let us understand what is human body. Human body is nothing but an electrical instrument or electrical body. It consists of varied number of cells. It is having so many pipelines which carry the blood streams. These are called blood vessels to different parts of the body. We are having nerves to function and which helps us to live. And also we are having various mechanisms which help us to respond or to receive the signals from different parts of the body. So these are very important and we have to take care of each and every part of our body in a right way. And this can be done with the help of proper breathing. Let me take an example of a newborn baby. If you observe a newborn baby, his chest is going up and down very quickly. If you observe the upper and lower portion of his lungs, it is expanding and contracting just perfectly. And he is able to use his lungs capacity to the full extent, to the 100% level. Why he is able to do this? Because his whole body is pure. It is full of oxygen. But when this child grows over a period of time, he becomes mature, he becomes a man or woman, he is not able to inhale in a proper way. He is not able to breathe in a proper way. He is not able to use his lungs capacity to the 100%. You will be surprised to know that a human body is able to use only 10% of the lungs capacity. Now, do you know why this is happening? because we are not using our body in a proper way. As you know, any instrument or apparatus, if not being used for a long time or not being used properly for a long time, it will wear out. It will not function properly. In the same way, this human body or instrument needs to be used in a right way to function properly. And we have to increase this lungs capacity from 10% to the 100% level. Now, what needs to be done to improve our lungs capacity? We have to breathe. Now you will say that we are breathing day in, day out. Then what's the issue? Why we are not able to use our lungs capacity? The way we are breathing day in, day out is not sufficient. The amount of oxygen which is moving towards your mind and body is not sufficient. We have to do something different to make our lungs capacity proper and to use our mind proper. So today I will tell you, first of all, 2 types of breathing exercise out of 9 breathing exercise. And I'm proposing that you should use it daily to improve your lungs capacity. Now, how you will be able to understand that my lungs capacity is not that well? It is not just 10%. So for example, when you are walking and we are not able to walk fast, this shows that you are not able to use your lung capacity in a proper way. If you are running but not able to run for long distances, this shows that you are not able to use your full capacity. If you are going up the stairs but you are not able to do it in a proper way, it means that you are not able to use your lungs capacity. So this shows that we have to use our lungs capacity. We have to improve that capacity. So for that, I will be displaying 2 types of breathing exercise out of 9 different exercises, which will improve the same. The name of the first breathing exercise is basic breathing, in which I will call it 1, 4, and 2. Now, I will first of all tell you what happens. When you inhale, you have to inhale with the count of 1. When you will hold your breath, you have to hold your breath for the count of 4. And when you exhale, you have to exhale for the count of 2. First of all, I will do that. You just see to it. And after that, you can do it together with me. At the end of this breathing exercise, you will feel little bit difference. You will feel coolness in your body or the mind because more amount of oxygen is going into your body. Now I will start this. First, see that. You understood? Now do it with me. Inhale for the count of 1, hold for the count of 4, and exhale for the count of 2. Now inhale. Hold for the count of 4 and exhale. Now let us do this 3 times. If you have done this for the 3 times, you might be feeling a little bit of coolness in your body because more oxygen is going into your body. This is improving your lungs capacity. Whatever the walls of your lungs which become hardened and inflexible, they will become flexible over a period of time if you do this daily. Now, second type of breathing exercise is taking care of your memory. When you breathe, a large amount of oxygen will go into your mind, which will increase your memory power and the lungs power. You have to do this exercise in this way. See this. Inhale, moving your head towards the back, and exhale, moving your head towards the front, like this. Do this memory development 7 times daily. This will improve your memory power and the lungs capacity. So out of 9 breathing exercise, which I am doing daily, I have proposed to do it 2 types of breathing exercise and inbuilt in your daily life to live a healthy and perfect lifestyle. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Wow, that was a fabulous speech. Let's catch our collective breath after that insightful explanation of the art of breathing, right? To guide us onward through this. Now it's time for some fun. For the next segment, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Shahid for the table topics.
Yeah, thank you, Arav, and greetings everyone. So one of the interesting topic is table topics. So in our day-to-day life, we more focus on the communication part, the day in and day out. Not only the communication, we need an effective communication. So if you see in our regular life also, some people are talking and talking, so everyone was listening to them. So that is like effective communication, how you will communicate well. So communication works for those who work on it. So it's very much needed for us. So this table topic session will recuperate us from miscommunication to effective communication. So we will start today's session, table topics. So I will give you some topics, and today we will do a bit differently, not like the regular thing. So I will just share my screen. Hope everyone able to see my screen.
Yes, Shahid.
Yeah. Just like who are all there in our current meeting, I have just added their names to this wheel. So we'll just spin this wheel, and whoever gets the lucky chance, they will be given with a topic, and we will talk on that topic for 2 minutes. Hope I'll just show you the names here. Just let me know if anyone is not there in this list. I will add, or if I did not added Raghu and Pramod. Okay,
No, go ahead. Just go ahead. Just run the wheel. We are short of time.
Okay.
Just run the wheel and whoever comes to pick up.
Sure, Raghu. Just a moment. Yeah, Alexander.
Frederica is not here. I think she left. You can give someone else.
Okay. Not there. Shall I run the wheel again?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Jaykumar Sechpal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Today's our topic is does positive thinking will benefit our health?
Okay. Thanks, Toastmaster Shahid, for a very good topic. Positive thinking. Yes, positive thinking is one of such positive aspect which we feel is important for good health. Uh, like when we think about positive thinking, we generally are bombarded with a message which is given by books like Secret, which tells you that you just imagine that you have achieved all the success and You feel that happiness which is coming by imagination of positive outcome and you are successful, all those kind of things. However, there is a catch. Only just thinking about that you are already successful, already you are healthy and you are rich may not give you the results. It may happen that you may feel good for some time, but you may forget to work toward it. So more important aspect apart from that, which is necessary, is that working towards that. Only just feeling positive is not necessary. And when we go through books like this kind of positive thinking, the thing is that they just only advise you on imagining that you are already successful, healthy, rich, all those thing kind of thing. However, what I feel that positive self dialogue, that you believe in yourself, that you are having a potential to work toward this, and you imagine yourself doing the all the hard work to reach there, and you believe yourself that you are able to do that kind of hard work, that kind of self dialogue which is necessary with the positive thinking. I think that kind of positive thinking would help a lot, rather than just imagining that you are already successful and all those kind of things, which in short term it may give some benefit, but in the long term, if you are not achieving real success, it may lead to depression. So that was my thought on positive thinking. And yes, positive self dialogue is really necessary to work towards success.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. So just pin for one more time. Okay. Mary Thomas. Yeah, Dr. Mary Thomas, your topic is, what is the importance of sleep?
Thank you, Table Topic Master. I am a sleep advocate. I completely believe with all of the scientific evidence and in my practice that people who get adequate number of hours of sleep, which is 7 or 8, they are generally healthy. How do I know this? I have done my own research on this because I actually had a sleep clinic. And I also have done work with patients on sleep, because there are many issues when it comes to sleep. It's not just about getting that 7 to 8 hours every night. You have to sleep at the right time. You have to sleep before 11. Now, if you sleep after 11, if anyone has worked in the blood bank, you would know that people who sleep after 11 are not candidates for a blood donation. Why is that? Because after 11, there is a biochemical change in the chemistry of the blood. And that alters it doesn't alter the composition of the blood, but it alters the chemical. There's a chemical alteration in the blood, which is why blood donors who sleep after 11 are not, literally not given a chance to donate. I know this would seem a little strange when I say this, because this is what was the guideline back in the 80s and 90s when I was with the blood bank. Today, if you put that clause into that criteria, we will never get anyone to donate a blood, because literally there is no one who sleeps before 11 p.m. Let's come back to this. Sleeping by 11 and waking up 7 hours later. So the best timing to sleep is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Get up, no matter what it is, get up at 6 a.m. and get on with the day. I have much more to say because sleep is one of my pet subjects. But again, back to you, Table Topic Master.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mary Thomas, for enlightening us with the importance of the sleep. So, Raghu, may I know, do we have the time to take another topic?
One more topic. You can take one more topic. You can give to Gangadhar, who is a past head director.
Yeah, sure. Hello, Gangadhar.
Hi.
Yeah. And are you ready to take the table topic? Hope
Yeah, yeah, sure, I can take.
Yeah. Your topic is why we should laugh every day.
Yeah. Okay. So, the topic is like why we should laugh every day. Uh, Laughing every day helps us to like make sure that we are healthy, we are recuperate from our like whatever the illness or like whatever like sadness that we are having. So laughing every day is like much of the importance for everybody to being happy, or like one of the like thing how I can see as a like how we can see as a happy life, right? Everyone should lead a happy life to be like very successful, or like very like fulfill their like entire like journey throughout the life. It is like very important to be happy. So I can see, right, like let's say like a mother having a baby. That baby is like, let's say like 1 year old or 2 year old, doesn't know like how to like see, right? Whenever that baby like smiles, or like baby is happy, not having anything, the entire parents or the family is like going to be like very, very happy, right? That happiness gives like whatever the circumstance or the problems that everybody is having will go away. They will feel like very happy. Okay. And even that child, if we take that as an example every day, like let's say whoever the family member is, like if they try to keep like themselves happy, or like keep laughing or keep like happy every day, so what happens, the entire environment in that particular place, whether it could be family, whether it could be a worker environment, whether it could be somewhere else, you always like make someone to laugh, like you are helping them to recover like from, or you are helping them to recuperate from the different aspects of the things that they are going throughout their lives. So it will definitely help to be happy. Yeah, that's all from my end.
Yeah, thank you, Gangadhar. With your topic, you made us everyone happy. With this, we are completing this table topics. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, Arav Saxena.
Thanks a lot, Shahid, for the wonderful table topic session. As we wrap up our creative table topic session, let's pause to appreciate the spontaneous wit and eloquence showcased by our participants. Okay. Now, let's seemingly transition into our next segment of the meeting, the evaluation segment. For this, I would like to call DTM Pramod for their evaluation report for Toastmaster Pratik's speech.
Let me also take a deep breath before starting the evaluation, because it's something which I should take a deep breath. The way the speaker started his speech, he engaged each and everybody. And the title was also really good, Pratik Breathing. And he exactly did the same thing. I should strongly advise all the new members to see this, how he grabbed the attention of the audience. It's a nice way of starting a speech. Even with silence, even with your antics, even with your body language, you can engage your audience. So speeches are of different category. Today, Toastmaster Pratik presented an informational speech. The purpose was to give information to the public. Then he will tell you what exactly you need to do. This age-old technique called pranayama. He made it very simple for you. 1, 4, 2. Breathe, hold, and release. It's easy to do that, right? How many of you have heard about pranayama before the speech of Pratik? Miral is there, Vrinda is there, Shahid, most of us. But how many? He made it very simple, right? So when you hear the word pranayama, you think that it is something complicated, but he made it very simple. So that was the beauty of the speech. And he exhibited also. In some of the good speeches, I always give recommendation to the speaker that if you are planning to give a proposal or you are giving a call to action, exemplify. He did it, and he made us to do the same thing, and we felt ease at doing that also. Kudos to you, Prateek, for getting the audience attention, audience engagement, which is something in online meeting very rare. It's difficult to get audience engagement in online meetings. You did your job really well. The project says that you have to make a proposal. And what was the proposal? I was searching for the proposal. And I found that in the second technique that you developed, that is called the memory technique, or which enhances the capacity of your length, you made a call to action that whenever you get time, you do this exercise. So you have said while moving here and at 6 to 7 times in a day, that is what you suggested that. I believe that that was the call to action. But here are my recommendations. Though the speech was so structured, at least for a proposal, you should be dedicating 2 minutes of your time for the specific purpose, the specific call to action. You presented everything in a clear manner. You made people do the same thing on the screen. You made them comfortable. But the next step is the very important step as per your project, that the proposal should be presented with a call to action. You should tell the people that this is what I want you to do, that explicitly you should have told it in front of the audience, to the audience. And the last 2 minutes, you should have discussed about it, and also how to monitor the progress of the same thing in the long run. So that is what I expected from a proposal. When you are presenting a proposal to a crowd, you want an action, you want a result, right? So the result that has to be articulated properly with proper timing and all. That is my only recommendation. And what I love the most about your speech is the pausing. Pausing and pacing. These two things are very important. So normally people with yoga, they are sorted, they are, calm, composed. When you talk to them, you feel like listening to them more often. The same feeling I had while listening to your speech. I felt like listening to your speech for more time because it was so soothing. Like, listen to the speech of Deepak Chopra or somebody. The sound is so good that you would love to listen to the speeches for hours. So that is the same feeling I had from you. So kudos to you. Do practice it in the same manner. Give more speeches, and it is well aligned with the purpose of the club. The Sattvic Club is constituted for imparting such kind of knowledge. Come out with more such speeches. All the best. Take care. Thank you. Back to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, DTM Pramod, for the great evaluation. Okay. With insightful evaluations behind us, let us now shift our focus to the collaborative spirit of our tag team reports. Get ready to witness a harmonious exchange of feedbacks and insights that enrich our growth as communicators and leaders. So let's call DTM Raku for his timer report.
There's a popular saying which says time and tide waits for none. Every day our account is filled with several number of seconds. How we utilize it matters. Today, we have had a meeting with lot of information where speakers have spoken, evaluators have shared feedback, and lot of things that happened today. Our first keynote speaker, I'm told that he is Toastmaster. Sorry if he is not. Dr. Ramesh, Toastmaster. He has taken about 35 minutes for his keynote speak, and then there was about 10 to 12 minutes for his question and answer session. Coming to our first speaker, Toastmaster Prateek, he is ready to be a DTM soon because he don't time me is the something that I give a definition for DTM. He has taken 8 minutes 16 seconds for his speech. And table topics, Toastmaster Jay has taken 2 minutes 12 seconds. Dr. Mary has taken 2 minutes 19 seconds. Toastmaster Gangadhar has taken 1 minute 57 seconds. Now coming to Pramod, he's already a DTM, which is why he has again taken 3 minutes, 57 seconds, which is more than the time. We have started about 10 minutes late. Something I would tell everyone is be conscious about time, and that will help you to end your speeches on time. One more thing to discipline for us. We started 10 minutes late. Next time, I request everyone to start on time. Our meeting start time is 7, not 7:30 a.m. I will clarify that in the meeting groups, but ensure to join on time so that we show the discipline of Toastmasters every time. Wish you all the best. Again, the same thing. Do not keep the stigma saying that Indians are not time. With that note, Toastmaster of the day.
Thanks a lot, DTM Raghu, for this detailed report of yours. Now it's time for the R report. So now I'll hand over the stage to Toastmaster Vrunda for her report.
Thanks, Arav. And as we are recuperating from a very exciting and eye-opening session, I, as our counter, had a very great job today. I didn't have to use my pen often to note any R's and ums. So a lot of flawless speeches out here. And just to summarize, I really felt there were only a few speakers here and there with some R's, but not many that, so I would say that it was a clean report. And back to you, sorry, our count. Something is happening to me. Back to you, Arav.
It's okay. Thanks a lot, Vrunda, for the wonderful report. Now let's shift our focus from minimizing the fillers to the artful mastery of language as we welcome the word master and grammarian to share their insightful reports. Toastmaster Anthony, let us know your word master grammarian report.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Araf. This evening, our meeting went very well. Was also very interesting, and I did not really find any errors in terms of grammatical errors. So I just want to compliment the speakers this evening. In terms of the word of the day, I heard the word of the day mentioned several times, and I would also like to compliment the speakers. I heard it from Toastmaster Pratik once, Toastmaster Shahid once, Toastmaster Gangather twice, and Toastmaster Vrunda once. So I just want to compliment the speakers again, and thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Arif.
Thanks a lot, Toastmaster Anthony, for your report. Oh, as we come to the end of our meeting, remember that each moment we have shared adds to the rich tapestry of our Toastmasters experience. Carry the lessons, connections, and enthusiasm from today's gathering, which is virtual, as you move forward in your speaking and leadership journey. Until our next meeting, keep shining and keep growing. That's all from my side. Let me now hand over the stage to the Sergeant and Arms for today, Toastmaster Meeral, for the closing of our meeting.
I'm Mr. Sergeant Down for today. Thank you very much for Toastmaster of the day for a wonderful session. I'll call this meeting to an end. Before that, let me invite presiding officer, Distinguished Toastmaster Pramod, to conclude with his few notes, and also call Toastmaster Vrunda as a VP to call for the role plays for the next meeting.
Yes, thank you, Raghu. First of all, my sincere apologies for not joining on time. I was thinking that the starting time of the meeting is at 7:30. As a presiding officer, I set a wrong practice. So I think I should apologize to the club for attending on the right time. So let's attend the meeting at the right time from next week onwards. I'll just fix an alarm and make sure that it will not be repeated.